The following presentation is controversial and may be offensive to some audiences.
Listener discretion is advised.
A vicious attack in a quiet rural area.
Some guy shoved a shotgun in my gut and told me to get on the floor.
Tonight it's clear thieves targeted this man's home for a reason that has police all over Metro Detroit concerned. Good evening. Medical marijuana growers have become much more common around Metro Detroit, and thieves are well aware of that.
A Monroe County man with a valid license to grow is learning the hard way not to keep those plants in view.
That's right. The attack happened around 3:30 this morning at a home on County Line Road in Milan. Our Sean Lay spoke with the man beaten up by thieves. And Sean, he says he was asleep at the time.
He does, and tonight investigators are telling me, Carmen, that all this is drug-related, and that victim, you're right, he says it is drug-related, but he says it's medical marijuana-related. Fresh home from hours at the hospital.
Oh, there they are right there.
Tim Riley is showing off sutures in his head, injuries from a vicious pistol whipping during what Riley says was a terrifying home invasion. It happened 3:30 this morning on this quiet Monroe County road when everyone inside here was sleeping.
Somebody kicked in the front door.
That somebody was a masked gunman. He had a team with him. 2 other men, also armed, also wearing masks.
Some guy shoved a shotgun in my gut and told me to get on the floor.
Not only were the men armed with guns, they had a plan, coming armed with restraints.
I handcuffed my hands behind my back, and he kept saying, "Where's the money?"
That's when Riley says he was pistol whipped. The trio also zip-tied his son's hands and ankles. The gunmen didn't find money, but they did make off with marijuana and lots of it. A trail of pot leaves can be seen down the driveway, and several mature marijuana plants are being grown near the house. They were clearly hacked in half and hauled off by the gunmen. We asked Riley why he has so much marijuana.
I'm a caregiver for somebody else.
Sheriff's investigators left those plants behind and confirm they're seeing a spike in medical marijuana growers being targeted for violent crime.
Pretty mad. I just want to see justice be done.
Back live, I'd like you to take a look at your screen. This is a car that was stolen from that home in this home invasion. 2003 Mazda Protege, that's the car. It's black. It's a 4-door Michigan plate 2JK S95. Investigators are out looking for that and those gunmen right now. We're live tonight. Sean Lay, Local 4, back to you.
And Sean, Monroe County Sheriff's investigators just left those marijuana plants in the ground and didn't take them as evidence?
You know, we asked them about that, and they say all this, as you might expect, still under a lot of investigation.
All right, our Sean Lay reporting for us live.
Countdown to launch. It's the Medical Marijuana
Launch commit.
Radio Show.
Guidance is internal. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. Power cleared.
Roll program. Marijuana Radio Show is a production of the Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
You tuned in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM Radio.
Keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal.
Hey. You tuned in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM.
It's not our normal time, and Denise isn't here, but let me assure you, I have a guest on the line, and we are live in Detroit.
Steve is the host with the co-host Denise. Starting at noon Saturdays every week. Yes, we keeping you legal. Legislators and lawyers, doctors and the growers. The show is for the people. Michigan Medical Marijuana, no hassle. We talk about anything, any issue we can handle. Call us up and let us know what is on your mind. And make sure when you do it legal every time. Hey. You tuned in to that Medical Marijuana Show.
Welcome to another Medical Marijuana Radio Show. It is Saturday. It's October 22nd, 2011. I'm Steve Greene, patient and caregiver, radio host. All three. It's like a Benjamin Franklin. Not quite that bad. Look, I didn't run around in the storms with a kite. Anyway, it is the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. We're here Saturdays, normally from noon until 1 o'clock. We were supposed to do, this was the idea, leave it up to somebody like me, to start the show at 4:20. I was going to start the show at 4:20 today because I was going to bring on a guest. The guest is Smokey Kush. Smokey you might know from the 420 radio show. Welcome, Smokey. Can we hear you?
Hello, I'm here.
There you are there. Here, let me see if I can find a way to turn you up.
All right.
Seems like we can hear you better. Seems like we can hear you better when I turn my mic off. Go ahead and talk.
Hello.
Okay, looks like I'm going to have to play the cradle rocking thing here. Good Lord. See, this mic stand I have at the home setup here is a little different than the thing at the radio station. You know, I've got a... if you only saw what I was doing here, you would not believe it. So I'm going to have to, like, adjust this so that when you talk, I turn the mic off, and then when I talk, you can hear me. See, I just did it. See, I can't even hear what that sounds like. This is convoluted, but it's going to work out, I'm sure. So...
I'm sure.
See, there it goes already. You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to do this. Hang on. We're just doing a little experiment. There we go. That's a little better. See, I got to crouch down low in order to do this. And if I do this, I have to point the mic a different way, and it doesn't want to do that easily. There we go. So now you can hear me, and Smokey can hear me, and we can hear Smokey. Say something, Smokey.
Hello, I'm Smokey Kush.
Hey, so we can hear you. So it's Smokey Kush from the 420 radio show, yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
How's it going, Steve?
I'm doing really well. You know, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and I had to do a show today, and I did the show at our normal time at noon, but I really effed it up. Boy, it was bad. It wasn't so much that the show was bad. The show was awesome. It's just technically doing this this new home gizmo, this new different setup, doing this from a different place. I managed to screw up the audio, and playing it back during the middle of the show, you couldn't hear me because I didn't have my stupid mic on. I hope that's see, I did it again. You know, there I was the whole time talking without the mic. Oh boy, I didn't even know. Here's what bugs me. If I flip back and forth, see, it's not too bad because I wasn't off mic too long. You can hear me, and I can hear me, but the people can't hear me if I don't flip the switch. And then if I don't flip the switch, people can't hear you. So I just got to keep flipping the stupid switch. See, there we go. Let me say something. Oh man, it's gonna be crazy.
You gotta love technical difficulties, Steve.
It's not so much technical difficulties as it is technical discovery. So here we go. We don't have a lot of time, and this is the other thing that's kind of convoluted. I had this part fixed during the first screwed up show, but and the reason I'm doing this show again is because I had Barb Agro on, and we had to scrap the show as a recording, and I like to leave some legacy behind, leave some show for the day 10/22/11. Otherwise, it's an empty show. There's nothing there in the archive. It's like, what'd you do that day? We skipped out on we skipped medical marijuana school that day. Didn't seem to be a fair thing to do. So we came back to do the show now because in the middle of that show, the audio was missing. It was just awful. I kept, you probably heard me earlier in this show, not for a minute. I was gone for a minute. They're like, oh, thank God. But it's because I didn't flip the stupid switch. So welcome to the show, Smokey.
Thank you for having me, Steve. I'm excited.
I'm excited. I'm excited about a lot of stuff. Yeah, boy, I feel like I'm a CB guy. I feel like I'm on a CB pushing this button to push to talk. I'm like on a walkie-talkie. It's very strange.
Yeah, definitely different, I'm sure.
So, as long I get being an ex-CB guy. Boy, I'm giving away my age now. I used to have a CB. I didn't have a title. I was getting into real radio by the time I actually my dad had a title. He had my grandfather was the Salty Dog. I can't remember. My dad was Teddy Bear. Back in the CB days. Anyways,
I don't think I've ever had a CB.
Yeah, see, you're a little. How old are you, Smokey?
I am 31.
You're not too far off the mark. Okay, I'm 15 years older than you.
Okay.
Or maybe right around there, approximately 15. So when I was a kid, CBs were all the rage because they didn't have cell phones. It wasn't even close. The only guy that had a cell phone was James Rockford on the Rockford Files, and his was like one of those old-fashioned ones with the big springy antenna.
The big ones that are kind of like the big walkie-talkies.
No, it was even worse than that. It had a big giant antenna hang off the back of his convertible, and if I recall, he actually had to plug something into something and then talk to an operator, and then the operator connected him to somebody. It was really convoluted. It was really weird. It's like one of the first cell phones on the Rockford Files. There you go. Anyways, get a little off topic. So there's only a couple of minutes left here before we end up going to break. I did want to kind of go over maybe what we're going to talk about during the show. I thought that was kind of important.
Okay.
Did you see anything happen in the news? Because I got stuff. If you don't got stuff, I got stuff for sure.
Oh, I got a couple funny stories for you, Steve.
Funny stories. We got Smokey Cush's funny stories from the it's the stash. It's the hidden stash show. He's got some hidden stashes for you, right?
I do. I got some very funny hidden stash for everybody out there.
So stay tuned for that. We also want to talk about these narcotics checkpoints. There was an article in the paper this week from Bill Leitner. Jamie Fricke got a picture out there in Flint. They've been stopping people going in and out of Flint at these narcotics checkpoints, which the Supreme Court has ruled are illegal in every way. It's a violation of all kinds of stuff, a couple of things. We'll get into the details of that if we got a chance. At least know this. They were doing the checkpoints as a result of that story and Jamie's picture and Bill Leitner's article. They might not be doing those checkpoints anymore. And to boot, I noticed from somebody else's story that they might be closing that task force down. The task force, they might have been closing that thing down. So there you go with that. Looks like we got a call here. Hang on a second. Just one moment. Hey, it's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show, and you're live on the air. Is this Mike?
Yeah, right.
No, I swear to God, we're live on the air right now. So if you don't want to be on the air, Michael, you might want to call me back later.
Oh, sure. I'll be on the air. You recording this?
we are recording this, but hang on. I'll merge the call. Stand by. So there we go. We got another caller here, Smokey. Smokey Cush, this is my friend Mike. Mike, my friend Smokey.
Hey, nice to meet you, Smokey. Nice to meet you as well, Mike.
Look at that. See, we got a radio station going here with an iPhone and a hunk of junk computer box and a connection to the internet. What do you know?
There you go. You know what? I just called to say hi to Steve, and this is great.
You managed to end up on the show. So we're not on the real radio. I call it the Medical Marijuana Radio Show for a reason, because it's a real radio show. We're not on the show on the air today because I couldn't afford to pay for it. We need an advertiser or two, and thank goodness, boy, this is some up. So we got just before you called, Mike, we were talking to Smokey about what was coming up during the show, and I better hurry up and wrap that up because we're going to hit a break here pretty quick if everything works as planned, and I think it will. We were talking about what's coming up, and what's coming up is we're talking about the narcotics checkpoints, and Smokey Cush has got a couple of hidden stash stories for you. So we were talking about that, and then also Barb Agro. We were talking to Barb Agro earlier. She was on the first Screwed Up show. That's why we're redoing this show. The recording was all messed up. So we're redoing it. So we got a chance to something for the archives. In case you're just tuning in, it's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show today on RadioWeedShow.com only. Normally on 1310 AM Detroit's Progressive Talk. Got a bone to pick with those guys. Oh boy, I'll tell you about the details of that. So there's more coming up. You guys on the phone, you can't hear the music playing, but there's music playing, which means there's a break right now. And that being the case, I got to cut to break. We'll be back. If you want to participate, the phone lines are busy right now, but write down this number. It's toll-free, 855-MMM-radio. We'll be right back on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show on RadioWeedShow.com right here in Detroit.
Got something to say?
Call now toll-free, 855-MMM-radio. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
If you are a carded Michigan medical marijuana patient with a need for safe access but have reservations about privacy and discretion, there is an answer. It's the Ant Farm. The Ant Farm is Metro Detroit's trusted professional mobile transfer service. Write this toll-free number down, 888-369-3320. Lab-tested, mold and pesticide-free. It's the Ant Farm's convenience you'll try, but quality standards, privacy, and friendly professionals that will bring you back. The Ant Farm comes to you. Call for discreet details right away. 888-369-3320. The patient's place for medical marijuana and safe access is Third Coast. Beautiful downtown Ypsilanti is where you can get safe, affordable access to education and materials concerning your specific needs, and quality products designed to meet your exacting needs. It's the Third Coast, 19 North Hamilton in Ypsilanti. Convenient hours, friendly, professional, compassionate. Call Third Coast today, 734-487-5402. That's the Third Coast Compassion Center in downtown Ypsilanti, 734-487-5402.
The Greene Collective.
Hey, medical marijuana patients, it's time to discover what all the buzz is about in Ann Arbor.
The Greene Collective.
The Green Bee Collective is busy making sure your patient needs are met with high-quality, locally grown meds.
The Greene Collective.
Get to know the information, the research, the benefit available to your condition.
The Greene Collective.
Weekly specials in just minutes from downtown Ann Arbor and I-94.
The Greene Collective.
The details are sweet at mmmgreenbee.com. Call 734-929-2553 now.
Last year's Halloween weekends at Cedar Point was 6 feet deep of pure horror. This year, we've taken things to an all-new low. Scream and claw your way through 10 grisly attractions, including my 2 newest monstrosities, Blood on the Bayou, where you'll be hunted by twisted freaks of nature through an alligator-infested maze, and the maniacal, mechanical Screamworks. Terror will echo through the dark skies as our legion of thrill machines sends riders hurtling in fear on the likes of Millennium Force, Top Thrill Dragster, and the new Wind Seeker. It will be a scare beyond compare. Halloween weekends at Cedar Point. All you fear is here.
Don't miss Halloween weekends, Friday evenings, Saturdays and Sundays through Halloween. For a limited time, visit cedarpoint.com and enjoy big savings on Halloween weekends tickets.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
We're back with another Medical Marijuana Radio Show, starting at a weird time. You know, I don't even know what time it is. What time? It's actually 4:45 in the afternoon on Saturday, October 22nd, 2011. With me on the phone is my friend Michael, and then also as a kind of a guest host of the show, it's Smokey Kush from the 420 Radio Show. It's the Hidden Stash. Well, from 420 Radio. It's the Hidden Stash Show, correct?
420 Radio, WTHC.
Oh, try. Say it. I didn't turn the mic off, so they couldn't hear you.
It was 420 Radio, WTHC, the Hidden Stash Show.
Yeah, I love it. The whole WTHC thing tickles me pink. So now, Michael, you called off guard. You didn't know we were broadcasting today, did you?
No, I actually thought it was a joke when you answered the phone.
Well, that's what I was like. Look, we're that's why I warned you. Look, we're live. If you don't want to be being broadcast, don't say anything.
Right.
The reason that I mentioned earlier we're doing the show is because we screwed up the earlier one, and we want to leave something. Got to have some kind of tape. I don't like leaving anything blank. So I don't mind redoing the show. If I was on the regular radio, it'd cost us some cash. But today I'm not on the regular radio. Couldn't afford it. We were talking about that. Now, Smokey, do you guys have advertisers on your show?
Yeah, we have a couple advertisers that we do ads for on our show, and they play quite regular through our breaks.
So who are they? I mean, give them a free plug. I don't know if anybody cares out here, but maybe somebody's listening out there. Give them a free plug for who they are.
All right. Well, we got Holistic Health, who comes out of Grand Rapids, Battle Creek, and Kalamazoo. Their certification clinic. We also have Great Lakes Soybean Candles, who they make very delicious smelling candles, the best around. And then we also have the Wilcox Brothers Medicinal, who is their medical marijuana delivery service.
Now, here we had to turn the mic back on. Here, the thing is, boy, if you only saw how I was twisted around like a duck in here. I'm like twisted upside down between a couple of things just so I can reach the button to like push back. It's really strange. It's distracting, but I'm going to move through it. It's interesting that, I mean, this is the biggest chunk of the whole show right now. We got like 17 minutes between now and the next time we got to go to break. So the deal is, I wanted to talk about these checkpoints. The drug checkpoints are happening up in Flint, coming in and out of the Genesee County area, actually at the Genesee County line along I-69 and US 23. Have you seen, well, now Smokey's out there. Smokey, just so people who are not familiar with you, can you tell them where you're at? You're out there in the Muskegon area, correct?
Yes, we're based out of Muskegon, Michigan.
And Michael's a little closer to me. I'm in the Novi, New Hudson, Detroit area. Michael's a little bit further out in the country. Yes?
Correct.
He's like, that's good enough. That's enough. Don't say anything more.
That's my cue.
So, usually when people interview people, they have something more than, yeah. I'm just kidding you.
Yeah. I didn't know if that was a question. But yes, I'm a little north, kind of between you and the Flint area, I guess.
I just a reason I'm mentioning about where we're located is because as we all three are in position to where these checkpoints are, they're narcotics enforcement checkpoints. U.S. Supreme Court, I can't quote the decision for you because I'm sitting in front of a screen and, like I said, kind of in a weird position. Otherwise, I'd just pull it up and read it to you. But there's a U.S. Supreme Court decision back in 2000 that says, where they've already hashed this deal out, and they've decided overwhelmingly that you have to have a reason if you're going to pull somebody over to search them. If you don't have a reason, you can't really just pull somebody over. Now, they're allowed to do sobriety checkpoints. That's a whole different deal. A sobriety checkpoint, the reason they're allowed to do that is because it concerns public safety, and they look at that as kind of overriding your need for privacy or any of your other constitutional rights. If you're going to be behind the wheel, you better be sober. So they're allowed to do sobriety checkpoints. That's not what this is. This is a narcotics checkpoint. They're pulling people over and running drug-sniffing dogs around the pulled-over vehicle in an attempt to... Now, they say they're trying to quash out... when you look at the newspaper article, they're trying to stop heroin. They're saying the article that I saw on MLive, if you look up mlive.com, narcotics checkpoints, if you Google those terms, you'll find that article. Article talks about one of the officers or people in charge down there saying that they're doing this by the book. Let me tell you, they weren't. They really weren't doing this by the book until we alerted them to the U.S. Supreme Court decision. And I still think they were doing some of this stuff not by the book even after they were alerted. Because, originally I talked to one of the sergeants down there who claimed to be the head of the division that's putting these checkpoints together. He's in charge of it. And I told him, look, what about this Supreme Court decision? What do you have to say about that? I just identified myself as a member of the media, that I was a freelance reporter from the Detroit area. And he didn't ask anything further, so he just started volunteering a bunch of information. And the information he volunteered is, A, I'm in charge of this thing, and B, we're doing this by the book, and C, you can come up if you want to take pictures, because I asked him, can we come up and photograph this or, videotape it? And he's like, sure, I'll get the schedule and I'll call you back. He never did, because between that time, that conversation, and the next one, he had already been told by some higher-ups that, this was potentially bad for them. So don't let them know where you're going to be. And they didn't. But we managed to get Jamie Fricke up there to take a picture. And if you look at the Free Press articles in the Detroit Free Press, it was not yesterday. It was yesterday's paper. Yesterday's paper, the Detroit Free Press. Look it up at freep.com. Search for, again, narcotics checkpoint, and you'll see the article and the picture associated with it. It's a Genesee County Sheriff's Department vehicle with a sign on the back that says, warning, attention, narcotics checkpoint, and then somewhere in there it says, drug-sniffing dogs in use. And they're claiming now in the newspaper articles that only thing that they're doing is pulling people over that are stopping or doing a U-turn, giving them, therefore, probable cause because they're using that illegal U-turn on the expressway. I know for a fact, based on other multiple reports, multiply sourced this, that they were pulling over everybody, at least on a couple of occasions. I think at some point somebody must have told them, look, you can't really do that, or you're wasting resources, because if you get anybody, you can't prosecute them. It's all going to be thrown out. I guess they don't care. And I think the reason they don't care might be a good one. That they're getting narcotics off the street, if they're getting people, the way they look at it is, if people are being saved because they aren't dying from a heroin overdose because they stopped it illegally, they're willing to do that. I just think that that's a bad trade-off to make. It's a very slippery slope. Would either of you agree?
I totally agree. I think it's actually really ridiculous that they have these checkpoints set up, Steve. They said, like you mentioned earlier, that they're going by the books. But on further reading of everything that has been taking place, they mentioned that they've changed their method a little bit by only not doing it daily and sometimes on Sunday. So it seems like they thought they were doing it by the book, but then it turned around and they weren't. But this does violate a lot of our rights. Probable cause gives them the reason to search a vehicle if they smell marijuana. That's probable cause, not because you turn around or slow down. If I see a bunch of police officers and a sign stating, hey, there's a checkpoint ahead, I'm going to slow down because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. You know, that's where people are getting caught at.
And it's normal behavior.
Exactly.
And then they would want to say, oh, that's suspicious behavior. They want to relabel normal behavior, because a normal cautious driver would not only slow down, might even pull off to the side. Hey, they're doing something's going on up ahead. There's some lights. There's some signs. People are moving slow. I better pull over. They're going to call that suspicious by the police, when it might just been a cautious driver trying to understand this unusual tactic.
Well, that's the law too, Steve. Is when you see police officials' lights, you're supposed to move over to the lane that they're not in, or you're supposed to pull off the road.
I'm not sure. I'm not going to say they had lights. I'm not sure that they were using any lights, but I'm saying that they're going to see at least the tail lights and traffic lights and such as people are slowing down or being pulled over. They might be seeing some of that stuff.
Yep, they're going to see police officials, and they're going to want to stop, and they're going to want to slow down. I mean, if you speed right past them or you're just going the speed limit, they're still going to get you because you didn't stop or you didn't slow down. So either way, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Well, and that's where they'd like to keep you. I wanted to start originally by asking either one of you if you've seen these checkpoints. Have either one of you had an opportunity to see these?
Actually, I had heard about this, and I had thought it was something that they were trying to do. I wasn't sure if they were actually doing it. So it's kind of funny that I call you, and that's the topic for today.
Go ahead.
I personally haven't seen these, and I've just had my license for a week after 5 years.
Oh, that's right. Michael had no. Tell him about the license to the degree that you want to.
Oh, well, I just, I had DUIs back when I was 19, 20. I'm 28 now, and just now getting my license back. I didn't want to jump through the hoops of all the things they wanted me to do as far as going to AA meetings 4 times a week without having a license. So there's just a lot of obstacles, and I did the minimum of 1 AA meeting per week, and it got me my license back with a lawyer.
After how long?
Well, I had it back on a restricted, and I violated because I was outside my time. At 5 in the morning on my way to work, I was like an hour outside my time, and they violated me and took it away for another 4 years.
All right, so you're actually you were a total without your license for about 5 years then?
Yep, and then off and on since I was 20. I've had it restricted. It's finally all behind me. Not to get too far off topic here.
Right. Well, so the point is that you haven't seen these checkpoints yourself, but you heard about them, and you heard about them as it was in relation to your license. You were worried about being cautious about your new license.
You know what? I don't remember where I heard about this. It was somewhere on the news, but the fact of the matter is, I believe it is a violation of our rights, and if they're willing to do this, how far are they willing to go? I look at it as steps.
I've noticed. I'm not even going to ask Smokey because I know Smokey doesn't get out this far that north.
I do, Steve, but I have not been out that way recently to see these barricades to stop drugs.
It's I see both sides of it. I honestly do. I can see both sides of it, but I would say that anytime you trade off liberty, because remember, liberty and freedom was won with what? What, guys? What was that won with? We won with blood. We won our liberty with blood.
Exactly.
There are many soldiers that have died on many battlefields over many wars for what we in this country call freedom. And I think that any time that you encroach upon that freedom, even in the face of awful things, I still say that those awful things don't outweigh the blood lost on those battlefields for that freedom. I don't think it's a good trade. I think it's a bad trade.
It's a form of tyranny.
It's an awful form of tyranny, and I think we're getting more tyrannical. And this is another subject. I'll get off on a branch here, and I don't want to do that. But as our government sours, as it's spoiled by money and corporate interest and special interest, big money and special interest, we'll have fewer things to say and less money to say it with. And so that's going to be a problem in the future. Michael, you brought me on, you kind of segued me into the next topic I wanted to talk about a little bit here today, was the idea of, you're talking about your license and such. And I think it's important that we talk about the big thing that happened with Neil Rockine this week. Did either of you see the story about the OUID thing that happened in Oakland County as a precedent-setting court decision?
I know. I mean,
I'll fill you in. So Neil Rockine's got a client. Neil's a defense attorney in the Southeast Michigan area, and a damn good one, by the way. And Neil, you see him occasionally speaking as an advocate for the medical marijuana crowd. Neil's not a patient. He's not a caregiver. He doesn't have any close relations that I know of. He doesn't really have an axe to grind about this issue, but Neil cares about people, and you'll see him frequently in public arenas defending patients who are in pain and who are being prosecuted and therefore persecuted by our own government. He doesn't like that idea. Neil understands that, and so that's why he says he gets behind it. I won't speak for Neil. I'll let Neil speak for himself. However, that being said, just give you a little background about what I know about Neil, or at least my understanding of the man. He had this case this week where he had a client who was charged with OUID, which is operating while under the influence of drugs. Both of you are probably familiar, especially you, Michael, because, well, at least yours is alcohol related, your situation with your license, that we have a zero tolerance policy in the state when it comes to Schedule I drugs in your system. Yes? Anybody listening? Hello?
Yes, I'm still here.
So okay, I just wanted to... The idea that we have a zero tolerance policy means that they can charge you even if you're not impaired. They don't have to show impairment. They simply need to show its presence in your blood to any measurable degree. And then they can charge you. You're guilty of drunk driving. It doesn't matter if it's even a metabolite. It's not an active substance. It's just proof that at some point you had it. They're going to charge you with OUID. Which is the same thing as drunk driving. And Michael knows, and I'm sure any of our listeners who've been through that arena or know people who have, it's an awful place to be, and purposely so. You shouldn't be out driving around when you're messed up. However, you also, on the other hand, should not be putting people behind bars and putting them perilously through that same awful ringer designed to make people not drive while intoxicated simply because you have a zero tolerance policy. Now, that aside, the Neil Rockine case speaks specifically to the medical marijuana issue. And the reason that he won this case, it's a precedent-setting case. It's just in district court. It may be appealed, but I think it'll be upheld. His client was found, I think they threw it out. I believe they threw it out. They said that it was unconstitutional for the state to charge his client as a medical marijuana patient with OUID without proving impairment because it violated the Equal Protection Clause under the Constitution. And I don't have an applause sound effect or a live audience here besides you two. Maybe you guys can applaud for me because I think that's pretty damn cool.
Woohoo!
Yeah, hell yeah. So,
I have a question if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, marijuana stays in your system average body weight for close to a month. So you're telling me even if it's in your system 3 weeks after the last time you toked, you can get an OUID?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. If you have any form of the substance in your body, and I'm not going to hold it to completely to that because it may be the active substance, it may be the active THC, just a small amount of it. But I'm pretty sure they can get you on a metabolite. I think there are a lot of instances where people have just had metabolites in their system. And again, this goes to the drug war and the zero tolerance policy, saying, look, if you don't want to be charged with OUID, you shouldn't have been out there doing whatever that Schedule I substance was. And I would say that the vast majority of those instances are all definitely THC.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the thing. I think it's really important that people understand that this was a precedent-setting case this week. I can't quote it for you. But I'm sure Neil Rockine and his law firm, Rockine LLC, I think it is, in Southeast Michigan. You can look him up in the phone book under the attorneys section. Neil Rockine. It's very clear how to get to him. I'm sure his office can point you to what that case was because you can use it as a precedent to to quash any charges that you might get if somebody has the balls to charge you with OUID when they simply haven't even had any suspicion of impairment, simply because they drew your blood and found something in there. I think that's good for people to have.
It sounds right scary to me.
Well, it's scary. It's scary from a certain position. Go ahead. Is somebody else talking? Smokey, were you trying to say something?
I was just saying that I was telling Mike it is really scary because, like you said, they're going to be ran through the same ringer as a drunk driver would be. You know, they're going to lose their license. They're going to lose their vehicle. They're going to take your money one way or another, and this is just another way to do it.
It's another way for them to get money, and to me, it seems like if a cop was to pull me over, run me on the computer, I'm immediately a target for something like this. Well,
and I would go ahead. I'm sorry, Smokey. Go ahead.
I was going to say you also run the risk of not being able to use medical marijuana as a defense. Even if you are a state-sanctioned cardholder. So, you might want to be aware of that too.
Yeah, I think I cut you off with the microphone. Smokey said you might want to be aware of that too. Which brings me to the other thing. Thank you for segueing me into the third point, the third major point, because this is really important. I never asked, and maybe you don't want to say, and you can say I don't want to say, but Smokey, are you a caregiver? Do you grow? Are you a grower?
I do not grow. I'm just a patient.
So you have an assigned caregiver then? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm a caregiver and a patient, and so I do grow. I won't say where I grow, but I do, and I play strictly by the rules. Every bit of the rules I live by, and I want to tell you in a few minutes because we're getting ready to go to break now, so I got to wrap it up. But got an important way for you to stay safe so that they can't deny you a medical marijuana defense. Stay right here. It's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show live in Detroit on a special edition. Don't go away.
We'll be right back on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
Last year's Halloweekends at Cedar Point was 6 feet deep of pure horror. This year, we've taken things to an all-new low. Scream and claw your way through 10 grisly attractions, including my 2 newest monstrosities, Blood on the Bayou, where you'll be hunted by twisted freaks of nature through an alligator-infested maze, and the maniacal, mechanical Screamworks. Terror will echo through the dark skies as our legion of thrill machines sends riders hurtling in fear on the likes of Millennium Force, Top Thrill Dragster, and the new Wind Seeker. It will be a scare beyond compare. Halloweekends at Cedar Point. All you fear is here.
Don't miss Halloweekends, Friday evenings, Saturdays and Sundays through Halloween. For a limited time, visit cedarpoint.com and enjoy big savings on Halloweekends tickets. If you are a carded Michigan medical marijuana patient with a need for safe access but have reservations about privacy and discretion, there is an answer. It's the Ant Farm. The Ant Farm is Metro Detroit's trusted professional mobile transfer service. Write this toll-free number down, 888-369-3320. Lab-tested, mold and pesticide-free. It's the Ant Farm's convenience you'll try, but quality standards, privacy, and friendly professionals that will bring you back. The Ant Farm comes to you. Call for discreet details right away. 888-369-3320.
The Greene Collective.
Hey, medical marijuana patients, it's time to discover what all the buzz is about in Ann Arbor.
The Greene Collective.
The Green Bee Collective is busy making sure your patient needs are met with high-quality, locally grown meds.
The Greene Bee Collective.
Get to know the information, the research, the benefit available to your condition.
The Greene Bee Collective.
Weekly specials in just minutes from downtown Ann Arbor and I-94.
The Greene Bee Collective.
The details are sweet at mmmgreenbee.com. Call 734-929-2553 now. The patient's place for medical marijuana and safe access is Third Coast. Beautiful downtown Ypsilanti is where you can get safe, affordable access to education and materials concerning your specific needs, and quality products designed to meet your exacting needs. It's the Third Coast, 19 North Hamilton in Ypsilanti. Convenient hours, friendly, professional, compassionate. Call Third Coast today, 734-487-5402. That's the Third Coast Compassion Center in downtown Ypsilanti, 734-487-5402.
Last year's Halloweekends at Cedar Point was 6 feet deep of pure horror. This year, we've taken things to an all-new low. Scream and claw your way through 10 grisly attractions, including my 2 newest monstrosities, Blood on the Bayou, where you'll be hunted by twisted freaks of nature through an alligator-infested maze, and the maniacal, mechanical Scream Works. Terror will echo through the dark skies as our legion of thrill machines sends riders hurtling in fear on the likes of Millennium Force, Top Thrill Dragster, and the new Wind Seeker. It will be a scare beyond compare. Halloweekends at Cedar Point. All you fear is here.
Don't miss Halloweekends, Friday evenings, Saturdays and Sundays through Halloween. For a limited time, visit cedarpoint.com and enjoy big savings on Halloweekends tickets.
It's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
It is the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. It's another Saturday afternoon in Detroit. It turned out to be a beautiful day today. I really was not expecting it to be this pretty, but it turned out that way. You notice we were starting to play some Detroit-themed music. I like that. It used to be weed-themed music, but we had to change it because there were some objections. I like the Detroit theme. I don't mind it at all. We are live in Detroit. It's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. It is 5:09 in the afternoon. We're supposed to start at 4:20. We started probably about 4:25 or 4:26. I don't know. It didn't work out as planned for sure, but with me on the phone is my friend Mike. And then also I've got on the phone Smokey Cush from 420 Radio. Smokey does the Hidden Stash Show. Does a damn good job of it. We love your show, Smokey. It's pretty damn awesome.
Thank you very much.
So I wanted to really quickly, before I got back into the subject of at heart, which is what is the subject? We were talking about it was the third big thing. What was it? Tell me. Remind me, guys. You don't remember, do you? Hello? Anyone? Yeah? Are you guys there? Can you hear? Oh, you know what?
Yeah, you're a little...
You know why I'm not talking into your stupid microphone? I got 2 mics to talk into. I came back from break, forgot to start talking into both of them.
You, Smokey. That's about it.
So I started to say, before I got back from the break. I'm sorry, guys. You guys are just now hearing me. I got my hands full. Is why I can't handle. There's too many things to touch, not enough hands. Anyway, so here's the deal. Before I get back into what was the main subject? What were we going to talk about when we came back out of the break? Do you remember? No? Nobody?
I don't know.
Nobody remembers. I do. I'm saving it for the big grand finale because we've only got a couple of short segments left here on the show. Before I did that, I just wanted to test, see, it was the stoner test.
Now you're from another radio station? Yeah, I run 420 Radio up in Muskegon. Oh, cool.
It's tell them how to get there, Smokey. Tell everybody how to find your show.
I hope we're not still in the air.
Yeah,
I'm sitting next to some speakers so I can hear better. But
yeah, we are still on the air, guys. Oh, hello. Oh, sorry. You know what? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
There you go. Did I have the mic off? Could you not hear me?
We can. I could hear you very softly, and then you went completely quiet.
Yeah, I'm a dumbass. Just call me a dumbass. I got too many switches and not enough fingers. So let's spare the people the technical details. I wanted to say before we came back from the break, what we're going to do is going to talk about a way to keep people from being charged with a medical marijuana defense. I'm sorry, a way to keep people from being denied a medical marijuana defense when they go to court. And I've got a way to do that, and so I'm going to give you the details on that in a second. But before we do that, during the break, I pulled a couple of random cards. I got a whole giant pile of cards from all of the guys that were at the High Times 420 event. It's really not I'm mixing the metaphors here. It was the High Times Medical Cannabis Cup in Detroit at Burt's Warehouse Theater last Friday and Saturday. I gathered a whole bunch of cards, and I mentioned on the air that I was going to do a little giveaway, or a little free plugging. And I didn't get a chance to do that, regrettably. So I pulled a couple of business cards to do some random free plugs, and I managed to pull out the Buzz News. They're a competitor. They're really not a competitor. They're a magazine. And we love them, too. Buzz Intelligent News. You can find them at www.buzzednews.com. That's BUZZED news.com. MMRS.com. They put out one of the publications within the community. And then also I pulled the card for Eden's Hydro. Now, Eden's Hydro is outside of our regular listening area on the radio show. Actually, they're probably not. They're in Lapeer, and I think we reached that area. They're at 560 Oak Street in Lapeer. They're a gardening store. You can reach them by telephone at 810-660-8484 or at edenshydro.com. That's EDENZHYDRO.com. So there's some free plugging for you. And you guys got any free plugs? You want to plug any businesses? Michael, you got a lawn mowing business. Plug your business and get some free business.
Sure, it's all services. We're a minor lawn care and landscaping company out of Livingston here.
Go ahead.
We're a growing business with 12 years of experience.
Go ahead and give it one more time because some of it was cutting out. Go one more time.
It's called All Services, and we are a lawn care and minor landscaping company, and we're out of Livingston County.
And they can reach you how? How can they reach you?
Am I allowed to put my phone number out there?
Yeah, well, heck yeah. I'll underscore. Hell yeah. That's a hell yeah.
All right. It's 517-375-6159. You can talk to the owner, and my name's Michael.
There you go. So if you need some lawn care services, you guys do any kind of winter stuff or just the summer stuff?
I have a brother that does plumbing, so we can look that out too.
Yeah, I'll just repeat that for you because you cut out a little bit. You said you have a brother and you guys do both?
Yeah, he can do snow removal. Yes.
Very cool. And now, Smokey, go ahead. You got any free plugs? You got any clients or yourself? Any other free plugs you want to push?
I think I'm gonna push 420 Radio, Steve.
There you go.
I'm gonna tell you folks to come on over and check us out on 420 Radio. 420 Radio 420.com. That's our website. Every show past is up to date on that website, plus a bunch of other cool information. You can also join us live on Tuesday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. on stickem.com, 420 Radio Show, 7 to 9 Eastern. Yeah, join us, man. We have fun.
Very cool. So I'm good with the free plugs. Normally I'd play at the radio station, I'd play the cash register sound effect. Cha-ching! Free plug. So that's good. We got a couple of them down. We like to do that every once in a while. If we're going to do more of it. Going to have like some free plug shows. Also, planting a seed. What do you think about maybe doing a show every day, doing like a radio show, just music, just like a DJ show? I was thinking about doing it at lunchtime because it's one of my regular shows on Saturdays. I was thinking about DJing just a 1 hour show and just maybe letting it loop for a little while. Not really sponsored or anything, just to keep people used to coming there at that hour, and they could listen to some cool music and stuff that we'll be playing, or maybe we'll talk, do a little interesting stuff. But I was thinking about maybe doing a show every day. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's a great idea.
We do one of those up here too, Steve. We call it the Puff Puff Pass Hour.
The Puff Puff Pass Hour. That's pretty badass.
Nice.
So okay. So beyond that, now to the meat of the story, the big thing. This is really important for you guys that are growing. Anybody that's growing needs to have this tool, this resource available as soon as possible. Had some things printed up yesterday, and you'll want to know about them for this reason. What they do, if you're a card holder and you're growing, and they manage to gain access however they do, if they want to charge you, if they want to jam you up, what they're doing is they're denying you a medical marijuana defense when you get to trial. And the way they do that is they say, oh, you didn't have, something wasn't enclosed and locked. They'll make some claim, some issue that you didn't quite follow exact details of the act, and therefore you're not entitled to its defenses. That's what they say in court. Now, the way I believe to get around this, because they're outright lying to the jury. I talked to Barb Agro today and found out something astonishing. I didn't even know this. I wish I had been at her trial, because if I had, I'd have made big hay of it before. I did know that some of the jurors had actually outright asked the judge, after the judge told Barb that any questions they want to ask, she'll be glad to answer them. And 3 of the jurors all independently asked about the medical marijuana issue. Is Barb a medical marijuana patient? And she said, her answer was, this is Judge Wendy Potts out of Oakland County. She's a circuit court judge, handles a lot of these cases. Judge Potts said, I'm not allowed to tell you. I'm not at liberty to say. Well, wait a minute. You just said you'd answer any questions that we have, and now you're saying you're not at liberty to say? Now, if I was a juror, I'd know right away that the answer to that question was yes, that she is a medical marijuana patient. But they actually, go ahead. You were saying something, Smokey?
I said that's what I said too when I talked to Barbara as well. Like immediately I would assume, okay, she's a medical marijuana patient if they're not at liberty to tell me.
Now, here's the funny thing: is that when they do what they call a voir diring of the jury, that's when they get to decide who's going to impanel the jury, who's going to sit on it. They both have challenges on the prosecution side and the defense side, and what they usually do is challenge away all the smart people. What they do is they keep the emotional ones on stage, the ones that they can get to emotionally just by showing them pictures and being graphic or dramatic in the courtroom, because they're the easiest ones to sway. So you get to impanel a jury that way. I wouldn't say it's a jury of your peers when both the defense and the prosecution get to decide who sits on it. I think that's craziness. I think you get a random jury. Here's the guys. Here they are. That's what you get. That's a jury of your peers, in my opinion. So anyways, the way that they're denying you is that they're saying, okay, you're not allowed to say to the jury anything medical marijuana. If you do, we're going to throw you in jail as a violation of the court rule, which basically means you're in contempt of court. They can hold you there indefinitely. They can just keep you there until they decide that you're not, okay, he's had enough. They don't get to tell you. They're not going to tell you how long they're going to keep you there for a contempt of court. She might say, okay, I'm going to give you 2 days for contempt of court. But generally, they can just say contempt of court, take him away, and they don't have to really describe any time. She can just hold you there until he or she wants to as a judge. So that's what they do. They say, Mr. Attorney, if you say the words medical marijuana, you're going to you better have your toothbrush because I'm sending you to jail immediately. And the same thing goes with anybody on this panel. They say this outside the presence of the jury. So what I'm saying is this. The way to get around this is I've created some stickers. Are you getting where I'm going with this? If you sticker everything in your grow, if you sticker your nutrients, if you sticker your pots, if you sticker your curing jars, if you sticker your medicine, any baggies, anything that's used in conjunction with your grow that obviously looks like it could be connected to a grow. I'm talking hoses, buckets, reservoirs, barrels, anything you got. Lights, hoods, everything. Packaging, materials, everything needs this sticker. And I'm going to read the sticker to you right now. Hang on, I got to pull this up. So what this is, and you can buy this right on the front page of RadioWeedShow.com, I believe, right now. In fact, I'm going to tell you right. In fact, you can buy it on the front page of RadioWeedShow.com right now. I'm trying to make my way to, convolutedly going through a couple of computer files so I can get to it, read it to you, so you can understand what it says. In fact, wait a minute. It might already be on here. Let me just look here. Let's do it this way. So, did he do what he said he was going to do? Yes, he did. Okay, here's what it is. Thank you, Bobby. Robert's a great guy. Robert does my website. If you go to the front page of RadioWeedShow.com right now, if you look off to the left-hand side, on the front page, there's a little yellow box. It says, get your medical marijuana defense shield here. You know what? We're in a commercial break already, guys. I actually cut the commercial break out. I don't mind, because this is really important. I was wondering where that went. I turned it all the way down by mistake. So here's the deal. We're not going to have a last commercial break. I don't mind. Get your medical marijuana defense shield here. They're grow stickers. And what they say is this. Attention, police, prosecutors, judges, juries. These are white and black. They're black and white. White background with black writing, simple. And it says it's 3 inches by 3 inches, so it'll fit just on about anything. And if you put them back to back, you can put around a hose or anything. The attached evidence is used solely in lawful accordance with the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act of 2008 and is/was possessed by a qualifying patient and or caregiver under state of Michigan law. A medical marijuana affirmative defense is therefore hereby asserted as an exception to any prosecution. And really, guys, that's what it is. Any prosecution. That's what the law says. That's really all you get as a card holder is an exception to prosecution, and it says any prosecution. In the actual language, the ballot language says, you can assert an affirmative defense against any prosecution, saying, look, I'm guilty, but I'm guilty and have a valid reason under the law. That's what an affirmative defense is, and it keeps you from being found guilty. So I think that these are available for $10 for a pack of 20. Price might go down on it so we can print more of them, but we've had 1,000 of them printed. You can buy them right now on the front page of RadioWeedShow.com. Just click the Buy Now button. It'll take you there. You can fill out a PayPal form. It'll give you the address. It'll send it here. We'll get them out to you within the week or so. The important thing is that you put these things on, because I'm telling you, if they get your way in there and they haul that stuff up, they're going to try and find a way to jam you up by denying you defense, especially, and I'll underscore this and say it loudly, especially if you're in Oakland County, they're going to try and do that to you. I also heard they're trying to do this in Livingston County. So what do you guys think about that as an answer to that question?
Brilliant.
I think that's a wonderful idea, Steve.
I think the fewer people we could turn into Barb Agros, the better. Even though Barb got it off light, she's an older woman. She's never had any trouble with the law. They still found her guilty as a felon. She as a felon is no longer to have a handgun. She can't have a handgun with that conviction. I think that's silly.
I wouldn't say she got off light, Steve. She got 90 days probation, and she could not take her medication within that time, and I do believe that that's why she took her little road trip now. Was just to get out of the state, because she's bumming, man.
She's in pain. She's in awful arthritic pain. She's lost her husband recently as a result of this whole mess. She's been bruised financially. She's been put through the ringer both publicly and privately, and then also, in the courts. My heart bleeds for Barb Agro because I love her to death. I'd want her as my own grandmother. I'd accept her as a member of my own family in a heartbeat.
Yes.
She's a dear woman. Anyway.
I agree.
So I think the fewer people we can turn into those, the better. So if you've got the opportunity, please, if you grow, if you have plants, if you are in possession of medical marijuana under this law, if you're growing, I would say that maybe even if you're just I don't know. Sometimes I even think they might go after patients. I think mostly they're going after caregivers and mostly caregivers. I think they're leaving individual growers for the most part alone. But I'm telling you, that doesn't mean that if they get into your 12-plant system, if they find an issue where there's not enough locks or there's not enough doors or, there's not enough signage or, whatever, they didn't like something and they want to say you didn't follow the program, they're going to say when they get you to court that you're not entitled to a defense. And that's all that you get for your $100 with the state and for having filled out the necessary paperwork with your doctor, getting all that, the qualifying thing done and the certification thing done, and then sending the money in and waiting all that long period of time for something to come back, which never seems like it's going to come back, but finally does, only to be found out that you're being arrested anyways. I think that's awful. I think this is the answer to that. We'll let the law test it, but I'm pretty sure if I'm a cop and I'm coming up into your place and I'm charged with finding a way to deny you that and take your stuff, I think this is going to stop me in my tracks, because the moment I phone back to the prosecutor's office that it's got stickers all over it that says medical marijuana on it, how do you get that into a courtroom out of an evidence bag without tampering with the evidence? And then you're guilty of evidence tampering as a prosecutor or a policeman. If you tear them stickers off, I'm telling you right now, that's evidence tampering.
Exactly. And, Steve, going back to the Barbara Agro, the whole reason why she wasn't able to use the medical marijuana defense was because in a panic, her husband Sal, he left the door open to their home to run across the street to their children's house, which was being raided.
Correct.
The police walked into their home, and they claimed that it was an unlocked facility, which is it's pretty asinine in my eyes.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. The whole reason that they made that claim is so that they could make it, first off, make a court case out of this, so that they could test it through the courts, which they did, and then also to make an example out of somebody. Now, why they would want to make an example out of somebody like Barb Agro is beyond me. I mean, this is an ex-Orion Township Police Department, Sheriff's Department, police dispatcher, yes? Or not a Sheriff's Department, Orion Township Police Department dispatcher.
Yes, she was a 911 dispatcher for Orion County.
Now, don't you think that we don't need to know what's in that lady's urine? I don't care if it's for 90 days or not. We don't need to be pee testing somebody like this.
We don't need to pee test anybody, Steve.
I think. Well, I'm just saying, as a poster child. Good Lord! But I just realized that the mic was off during that last segment. Again, go get your medical marijuana defense shield stickers. Front page at RadioWeedShow.com. They're 10 for $20. I'll give you the language here one more time. It says, attention, police, prosecutors, judges, juries. The attached evidence is used solely in lawful accordance with the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act of 2008 and was possessed by a qualifying patient and or caregiver under state of Michigan law. A medical marijuana affirmative defense is therefore hereby asserted as an exception to any prosecution. I'm pretty sure that this is a good way to keep yourself from being charged, or, I'm not going to say they're not going to break down your door. I'm not going to say they're not going to take your stuff. I'm just saying it's awfully hard to charge you and deny you a defense, an affirmative defense, if you've got these stickers on there. Otherwise, it makes them felons. And I would say that the fact that you've got a purchase receipt for such stickers is good enough to reason to show, look, the stickers have been ripped off. There used to be stickers here, and I have a receipt for stickers. Let's see, where did I order those stickers from? Oh, yeah, look what the stickers said. You guys are guilty of evidence tampering. I don't think any prosecutor, juror, judge, attorney is going to place themselves in jeopardy. Guys, you can't hear it. I'm really sorry, but we've reached the end of our time. Good Lord, I got a bigger mouth than I thought. Thanks for being on the show, guys. Do you want to say hello? Say goodbye, guys.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show. Smokey Kush from the 420 Radio Show, and my friend Michael. He's not a patient. He's not a caregiver, not a participant in the program. Join us next week, folks, on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show, right here on RadioWeedShow.com.
Medical Marijuana Radio Show and RadioWeedShow.com are trademarks. Copyright 2011.